Hey guys, DMS here. Today I have for you a much requested video, the 2020 headphones tier list. So let's get into it. Now before we get into this video, I have shirts like this one available at the link in the video description. It helps make videos like these possible and supports the channel. There also might be some noise in the background because my air conditioner is running and it's right there, which means the window's open and there's a main road right there. So there's 44 things in this list. There's probably some things I left out, but I figured this would be a pretty good start. And we could cover most of the things people are talking about right here. I didn't rehearse this. I didn't decide where things are going in advance. S tier is the best, F tier is the worst. Ooh, man. What is my least favorite thing on this list? It's gonna be this right here. This is the Take H2 Plus. I just filmed a video on it. And it doesn't have any reason to exist. So that is going to start us off. It's built like it's from the 1970s, it smells like it's from the 1970s, and it sounds like hearing loss. Next to that, in the things that shouldn't exist category, let's put the Fidelio X2 because it's just a dumpster fire of a headphone, and the Bowers & Wilkins P9, which is still one of the greatest disappointments I've ever put on my head. Sounds like absolute crap, it's not comfortable at all, and even though it's built using premium materials, it still manages to be built like crap. It's like if you think of the analogy built like a tank, only the tank is made out of glue. One step above that, I'll put the DT1770 because it was an absolute nightmare, but it's not the worst absolute nightmare that I've ever heard because it was still built pretty nice. I'm gonna put the Bose 700 next to that because it was pretty much terrible in every category except for the fact that it had great noise canceling, but you don't want to use it to listen to music. While we're on the Bose train, I'm gonna put the QC35-2 in B tier because while it's not the best sounding headphone in the world, it sounds pretty okay. Noise canceling is good on it, comfort's good on it, and I still use one whenever I travel. MDR1A category below that, I feel like it's getting a little bit outdated these days. It was pretty good for its time, and now it's starting to slip down the ladder a little bit. B tier, I'm gonna put the current revision of the K371 because apparently they fixed their build and it's no longer a mid-bass monster. I still don't like the fact that it's labeled as a professional studio headphone because the sound signature doesn't sound professional at all, but there is not a speck of sibilance in that headphone, and it's reasonably comfortable. I wish there was a higher impedance version available. The Audio Phantom, I'm gonna put that in D tier. It's not the absolute worst, but it really doesn't have hardly anything going for it at all. Cindy Iva, C tier. They're not bad, but there's a million headphones that use the same driver and sound just about the same with a pad swap, like the HF580, which is like 150, 180 bucks, something like that. And I'm gonna put the LCD1 in this category. Sounds pretty good, build really isn't there. Pretty flimsy. This list isn't just about sound performance, by the way, it's about comfort, build, all kinds of things. So just because the Bose is sitting up here, it doesn't mean that it sounds better than the MDR1A or the Sivga or the LCD1, it just means that I think it's a more well-rounded product and fits better into that category. And the 1000 XM3s, I'm gonna put those in C tier also. I didn't like them quite as much as the QC35-2, they just kind of sounded like treble cannons last time I listened to them. They were bassy, but just boosted bass and boosted treble doesn't really make a good headphone, and Bose has them beat on active noise canceling. That said, wireless headphones that sound good, I'm gonna put the Drop Panda up here in B tier because it is a pretty dang decent small planar closeback headphone with excellent built-in amplification. MDR Z1R, C tier, it's lost its touch. There's a lot of good closebacks on the market, and the one thing that made it good is overshadowed by all of its faults. But it's not as bad as the AP2000 Ti, which I'm putting in D tier. It's a headphone that costs more than most people's rent and is just treble. That's all it is, it's just treble. Sibilance Simulator 2020. DT880 600 ohm is going to go in B tier because it's just a great headphone for the money. You have to drive it pretty hard though if you want to get great sound out of it. 58X, where are you going to go? B tier because it's such an insane value, you can't beat it. I'm going to put 4XX right next to it. They're both just crazy good values and they complement each other well. One is a bit more mid-forward, one is a planar that's super analytical. A tier, 6XX, how could you not? Sundara, also A tier, both fantastic headphones for the money. They're going all the way up in A tier because they are both such insane values also. I feel like everyone's been recommended a Sundara or a 6XX at some point, and they both push way above their price brackets in performance. I have two LCDs down here. Is this the LCD2C or the LCDX? It's hard to tell. God, they look so similar. Nope, that's the LCDX. Okay, LCDX. Ooh, A tier. And I'm gonna put the LCD2 X2 Classic up in A tier also. I feel like the LCD X isn't as good of a value as the 2 Classic, but I think they're both pretty fantastic headphones overall. If I had to pick between one of them, I like the sound of the LCD X more, but I find the LCD 2 Classic a lot easier to listen to over a long period of time. HD800S B tier. It has a cool party trick. It does soundstage really well and imaging really well, but the frequency response is just so whack I can't listen to it for long. HD820 D tier, unless you enjoy listening to your music through a small tin speaker in the bathroom sink. DT1990 B tier, A tier, B tier, that's really tough. Because it's such a good, you know what? A tier. Headphone, I'm gonna put that in C tier because I couldn't even listen to it. I tried to put it on my head and it only stretched down to like right here. So until I can put it on my head and actually see what it sounds like, C tier. It looks comfortable for those who can actually wear it because the pads are big and soft. Just need to extend that headband out. Ether 2, it didn't sound very good, but it was really comfortable. C tier for being the most comfortable planar out there, but it doesn't really sound that good. M50X, F tier, no questions about that. Klipsch HP3 C tier. It's a biocellulose dynamic. It's cool. There's not really anything too special about it. It's got a pretty wacky frequency response. It's Klipsch's high-end headphone. If you like biocellulose dynamics, you might like that, but it's just not as good as a ZMF. And speaking of ZMF, Verte. Verte is gonna be an S tier, because with pad swap, it's just crazy good in technical detail. A little bit boring frequency response wise, but what are you gonna do? It's all right. I like it. Icon is gonna be, B tier. It used to be A tier, it's B tier now only because I've since listened to the Ether C-Flow 1.1 and that just beats it out. Ether C-Flow 1.1 is just a more comfortable planar Icon. Edition XX, D tier, it's just not good. It's just not a good headphone. Ananda though, I could comfortably put Ananda in B tier. I feel like it's better than the HD800S, but doesn't have the cool soundstage party trick, but it does do some cool things. It's relatively detailed. The treble's a little bit weird in it, but I think it fits pretty comfortable in B tier. Modhouse Argon, still amazing. I'm gonna put it in C tier this time though, because the Drop Panda is out, and that really is a strong headphone for the price. I still love the Argon, but it is time to bump it down one because we have the Pandas up here. NDH20, ooh, man. B tier, it's basically a closed back HD600, but it's not very comfortable. TYGR 300R, B tier. It's just really easy to power and it's just about as resolving as a DT880 600 ohm. KSC 75, C tier, because I don't think it can quite go up here with all these headphones, but it's 12 bucks. What are you gonna get for 12 bucks that sounds better than that? Nothing. Alex, easy A tier. Focal Clear is an S tier headphone. That is a really, really good headphone. I absolutely love it. One of the better dynamics, if not probably one of the best dynamics that I've heard. I'm not saying dynamics is in the measurement of dynamic range. I'm saying dynamics is in a headphone with a dynamic driver. DT990 Pro is an F tier now. It's just not a good headphone anymore. This is an Abyss headphone. It's a Dyna V2. I work at this company, so take this with a grain of salt, but I took that photograph. I love this headphone. This is my daily driver. I'm putting it in S tier. It's a great headphone. R70X. R70X, I think, is a B tier headphone. It is one of the flattest sounding headphones I have ever heard in my entire life. It's high impedance, so you can put it on tube amps, but it's also the single lightest headphone I've ever worn. And then there's this, the ESP95X. It's also a B tier. It's just a really good value for an electrostatic headphone. There's not many E-stats out there that are very compelling to me. Some vintage stacks I liked, but if we're talking about a modern electrostatic headphone, ESP95X. If you really want to get more out of it, you can get an adapter to plug it into a Stax amp and use it with a better amplifier, because the weakest point of this entire headphone is definitely its amplifier. So that is the headphones 2020 tier list. I'll probably do one of these for amps and one of these for IEMs also. But if you have any other ideas or any things that I really missed out on this list, let me know, because I will make more of these if there's enough popular requests for them. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, please leave a like down below and a comment letting me know what you want to see in the future. If you want to get active in the community, you can at forum.hifiguides.com. And as always, don't forget to stick around and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Until the next one, guys. Peace.